What up? I'm B, and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things YouTube drama and current events, but we do it in a way that is fair, reasonable, and as unbiased as we can be. This is going to be another episode of Crafty Crimes where we talk about something true crime related and work on a craft. Today I am continuing to work on this blanket. You might have seen it in my first few videos, and I'm still working on it because it takes a long time. So we're going to go ahead and keep working on this, and we're also going to be talking about a supposed new cult, something kind of spooky and creepy, but let's just go ahead and get into it. So this cult that we're going to be talking about today is called the Echelon, and you might have heard of it if you are a fan of 30 Seconds to Mars, because this cult was created by the band's frontman, Jared Leto. He obviously is a musician, but he is also an actor. He's of American descent. He's American, and he's 47 years old. He first started in acting. You might know him from stuff like Requiem for a Dream, My So-Called Life, or most notably Suicide Squad, where he was he employed the approach of method acting and was just a notorious pain in the butt and a menace to the whole crew. This is the movie where he sent his fellow co-stars like really inappropriate gifts. He sent a live pig he sent a dead pig to the first table reading for the script. He sent his co-star Margot Robbie a live rat, which she did end up keeping for a while because she was like, well, I don't know what to do with it. I don't want anything bad to happen to it. So she kept it for a little bit, but then she had to get rid of it. And he wouldn't respond to his own name on set. He didn't really talk to anybody. He was just in character the whole time. The full time that he was there, he was the Joker. And he just caused like general chaos and distress for his coworkers. And I don't know, I mean, if that method works for you and the performance is outstanding, maybe we can get past it, but I don't know. Suicide Squad wasn't that memorable in the first place, and his performance wasn't anything crazy to me. But moving past that, Jared Leto has supposedly started a cult. And how this kind of came about, I think, is because so many people were, like, in interviews, they talk about how he has a cult following, and so I think he's kind of embraced that and is starting to maybe play off on it. But let's go ahead and let's analyze some of the things that he's said and done and how that relates to cults, and maybe see, like, does this really fit into the criteria of what a cult is. So, the first thing I want to talk about is a video that kind of advertises the cult. It's like a montage of people dancing and laughing, and a lot of Jared being in front and like crowd surfing, and throughout the entire time it's like flashing these words. It's flashing belief, hope, freedom, dreams, happiness, tears, and in all caps, family. And it shows people's tattoos that are based off of some of their like album artwork. So there's that whole video, which was weird. I mean, that definitely felt like it evoked an emotion of like, don't you want to be here? Don't you want to belong? You want to cry with us, laugh with us. Like, this is a collective thing. But it also kind of looked like it could just be a video to like advertise a tour. So, I mean, it was kind of weird, but not that bad. But some of the nittier grittier things, part of the elements of the cult, are back in August, they held this camp in Croatia where I don't know what happened, but the videos from it, like the photos from it, are Jared Leto in this white robe, and he's sitting on this chair talking to everybody, and they're all sitting on the ground below him. And he posted it saying, like, yes, this is a cult. That was just the caption. And a lot of people were commenting, being like, yes, you wouldn't understand. We're believers. You're the Messiah, saying all this stuff. But one person specifically said, yes, it is. And I'm proud to say I am one of the believers, with a bunch of emojis after. And she said, thank you for the best 3 days of my life. Hashtag live like a dream. Hashtag Mars Island. Hashtag Mars Island 2019. Hashtag yes, this is a cult. Hashtag you wouldn't understand. Winky face. So that is very indicative of typical cult mentality. And the reason why is because they're using in-group language. And so something that cult leaders like create is an us versus them mentality. And the reason they do that is to obviously make you feel invested and give you a sense of belonging, so that way you're loyal to the group. But also by creating us versus them, they can separate you from people who don't have the same beliefs. So like if your family is concerned, saying like, hey, this is kind of culty behavior, this is unsettling, you can be like, well, you don't understand, you don't get it because you're not in it. So it's easier to help separate you from those who might not believe or who might try to take you away from the cult. Another part of it, which isn't necessarily culty, but kind of is that Jared has a history of like having, I don't want to say an inappropriate relationship with fans, but there was, in 2013, I believe it was, he held a contest, and the winner, like the grand prize, was spending a night in his bed with him. So I don't know what happens during that night or what is expected to happen, but it's inappropriate because there's a power dynamic of like, you won this, I'm giving you this prize, your prize is one night with me and I'm in power. So theoretically, if Jared wanted something to happen or wanted something inappropriate to happen, there would be kind of a weird, like I said, it's just a weird power dynamic because you look up to this person. Obviously, you entered the contest, you're a big fan, and so you would want to please the person in power, which is just creepy. It's creepy, and it kind of reminds me of Jim Jones, which again, like the Croatia trip was like very People's Temple vibes, and Jim Jones was notorious for having intimate relationships with his followers and being very like, I don't want to say selective about it, but like he would obviously choose who he wanted. Like he would choose people he wanted to be intimate with, and it wasn't a secret. Like people knew that he was selecting members to have these relationships with, and so it just kind of reminds me of that. Like it's an inappropriate thing to do with a fan, just because you have so much power and you have so much influence over their life that it could lead to some really bad things. So that's another part of it. Another sign of a cult is that he calls his fans his family, and he calls them his believers. And then, so they had, in August, they had the camp in Croatia, but for the past 5 years, they've also been having Camp Mars Malibu, and this year it was from September 7th through 9th. So that's 2-3 days, depending on when activities start and end. But let's just be generous and call it 3 days. And let me give you some of the prices to attend this, because it's not free. You have to pay to go. And let's go over what you can expect to spend. $999 for 2 nights of camping, and you have to bring your own tent and supplies. The $999 covers daytime outdoor activities like rock climbing and archery, plus 2 30 Seconds to Mars concerts, which the band calls Church of Mars. So that is the basic price. That is the basic cost just to go. You're going to be sleeping in a shared space. You have to bring your own food and like your own tent, your own supplies, stuff like that. And then if you wanted to pay for a bit more of a luxury experience, it goes up more and more. But the only way, like, they have dorm options where you're sleeping inside, you don't have a tent or anything, but the only way to sleep in a space that is not shared with a stranger is by getting the VIP experience package, and that costs $6,499 for 2 nights. For 2 nights. So they have that, and they also have day passes, which are $349, and that gives you access to the show and some snacks, and that's it. And that option does not include a photo with the band. So that is an insane amount of money for a 2-night experience. It's not even like a full music festival. It's not like they have multiple bands. It is just with 30 Seconds to Mars, and unless you're going to be spending thousands of dollars, which even if you get like the 2 nights of camping and you bring your own stuff, you're still spending at least $1,000. So it's just wild. Like, that's so much money. But moving on, this first part of what I'm going to say is not indicative of a cult, but it leads to something that kind of is. So for meet and greets, they charge about $900 for their meet and greets. And people have posted about them saying like it was super quick. It was just a few seconds to get in. If you brought them a gift, give them your gift, have them sign something, take a photo, and leave. Like, it's not even an experience where you get to maybe hang out for a little bit, have a quick conversation. Like, it is just in and out. And so there have even been photos of the band wearing like rubber gloves during their meet and greets. So they say that like, we're this family, you're my believers, you belong. But then when they meet their fans, there's very much a level of separation, like going so far as to put on a physical barrier between themselves and the fans. So they had that, and then I just think it's interesting how much all of this stuff costs, because in 2013, Leto declared the band was anti-greed, but yet everything is so expensive. So moving on from the cost of that, the last sign of this being a cult, the echelon being a cult, the 30 Seconds to Mars cult, is that they have merch items with cult themes. So it has like album artwork, and they have like sweatshirts, t-shirts, bags, tank tops with phrases like, yes, this is a cult, you wouldn't understand, and I'd rather be at Camp Mars. So again, you have that language that separates the people who are in the group from people who are out of it, but now you're also wearing it on your body and like making a statement about this is what I'm in, this is what I'm involved in, and like you're showcasing it. So with all of that being said, all those signs of the echelon truly being a cult, let's go ahead and compare it to some other like general goalposts of a cult and see if it falls under the true category. Something that is notably lacking from this cult is an overarching belief system or a dogma. There's no religious texts, there's no, like, they don't have a Bible, they don't have pamphlets or anything. There's no like true rules or restrictions saying like, this is how you are supposed to live, this is the meaning of life, this is what is expected from you. They don't have anything like that, which cults do have. And there are no rules for like, there's no rules that you have to follow or else you'll be punished. Cults always have punishments. They like, it's a way to control the followers. Again, with Jim Jones, there is tons of audio from when the People's Temple was in Guyana, and there's a clip where this woman, she did something wrong, and so Jones is punishing her, and she's like deathly afraid of snakes, and he has her, I'm assuming, like laying on the ground or in a chair or something, and he's letting a snake crawl over her. And he just sounds so like fed up and just done with it. He's like, she never learns. This is the only way she learns. And she always cries and says, I'm sorry, but it only works for a few days because then she's back at it again. And then I have to do this again. I have to go through all this. And you can hear her just being so terrified. Like her speech is slurred. She can barely talk. She's horrified. So that's the type of punishment that you might expect being in a cult. And there's obviously nothing like that with the echelon. However, if you look at like critiques of the band or of the meet and greet or of anything by people who are their fans, they are very careful about the language they use, and they'll like sandwich the critique in. They'll be like, oh my god, it was so amazing, best concert of my life. Meet and greet was a little bit pricey, but totally worth it, so incredible. So you can tell that there's something like negative they want to say, but they're afraid of getting backlash. And I'm not surprised because Leto in the past has sent cease and desist letters to his fans for posting for posting photos that he didn't like. He had some like goofy modeling photos from his time as an actor on My So-Called Life, and when people were posting them, he sent them legal documents stating that they had to stop, and they did. So no culty punishment, but definitely a fear of upsetting the leader. And finally, the way that it does not fall under some of the requirements of a cult is that there is no concentrated area where you have to live. And again, the reason that cult leaders will bring all of their believers together, like, the Scientology, they have the Sea Org where everyone lives together, everyone's in dorms and barracks, whatever. People's Temple, they lived together in America, and then eventually they went to Guyana, and we know how that went. So with the echelon, there's no place that you have to live. He doesn't have like a temple or anywhere that you're expected to stay or live by. He does have these events that happen, but that's, once or twice a year, and it's not like it's a requirement of anybody to go. So no concentrated area that people are forced to live in. No rules, no overarching belief system, no punishment, stuff like that. So when we analyze everything, I think it's pretty clear that it's not a cult. I think they're kind of saying it in a tongue-in-cheek way initially, and then Leto and the band probably realized how much of a cash grab this could be, and that's what I think it is. Like, I think it started out as like oh yeah, my fans are so dedicated, let's, people call it a cult, let's play it up. But now it's just kind of evolved into like a creepy money grab, because those prices are nuts. I would never pay that much money for a 2 to 3 day event. It's just wild to me. So again, not a cult. In my opinion, I don't think it's great. I think it's kind of a way to, first and foremost, make Jared Leto feel important, feel like he is the leader of something, like he's in charge of something. This came out yesterday. He felt like alienated, is what I think the news headline said, that he was not asked to play the Joker in the new film that Joaquin Phoenix is playing the Joker in. And it's like, it's not a Suicide Squad movie, and people really didn't like how you behaved on the last set. Some people were fans of it. I think the director said that it was incredible to watch him work. So some people liked it, but it wasn't that memorable of a performance, and yet he felt like he should have been asked. Even though it wasn't a Suicide Squad spinoff, none of the other actors from Suicide Squad were in it, he felt like he should have been asked. And so he's definitely very self-important, likes feeling wanted and desired and powerful, and that's why I think it's dangerous, because he's doing this to make himself feel that way and to make himself more rich by playing off the emotions of his fans, by taking advantage of the fact that they love him as an actor, as a musician, as whatever, and he is getting as much money from them as he possibly can. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, don't think it's a cult, but also not a fan of it. But I'm interested to know what you think. Do you think that this is a cult? Do you think it's dangerous? Do you think it's fun? Do you think it's weird? Do you think it's creepy and predatory? Because I think it's creepy and predatory, but I want to know what you think. So definitely leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you think. I'd love to talk to you about it, and I would love it so much if you would like this video or subscribe to my channel or do both. And if you have subscribed already, thank you so much. I am so appreciative of you. It's super fun to be able to just hang out and talk about stuff like this. So I really am super grateful for you. And with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much for watching this video. And remember to go out there and be the voice of reason in a world full of crazy. Bye.